Do you know what? I'm just so happy that we're doing this again. And I feel like energetically, Source was telling us to just wait. And
all the honking.
yeah, because when you look back at it, when I looked at the editing, you was tired, to be fair. I was tired. So yeah, it was I'd say it was divine intervention, divine timing. It wasn't the correct message, shall we say, we was gonna put on the next podcast. So
Maybe it was divine timing of releasing that topic.
that is absolutely 100% true. I think that's the only way I could think about it right now. 110%. And you know what? I want to just speak to the viewers because just give you more context of the whole thing. We were recording, and the next minute there was lots of honking through our neighbors' cars. It was just annoying. It was just a complete and utter like balls up. Not from our part, but the environment that we're around. And then we thought, let's try again, right?
Wait, no. This is the one that we didn't record, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's another situation that
Yeah.
happened. So we just looked at each other and we're like, oh, let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Then we did I think it was the 4th attempt. And my God, it just didn't feel right. So we're here now. I go by name the Sorcerer.
And I'm Saige the Dragon.
And we hold space. And I would like you to open the topic for today because we had the discussion many times. We were like, oh, let's not redo the same topic as what we did before. Because maybe, just maybe, actually, in fact, that wasn't the right time.
Yeah. And I'm starting to feel like our best episodes are the ones where spontaneously either we're like, let's talk about this, and then we do it.
Yes.
Or 2, we just have a conversation and it flows.
I think that's the best part. I think, and that's what, from the responses from our peers, people around us, our tribe, our small community, they've gravitated towards the way we're doing things right now, basically. Just start as we go and see where we go. And the topic I wanted to just start off today is, which is very important, is, well, to your heart. You've been going through the motions, if you don't mind me saying, and I want you to speak to the audience, and how did you go from one process to the other, from, raising your vibrations to removing any blockages and coming to the realization of you alchemizing yourself from an area that Saige, if you don't mind me saying, was in a period where she felt she was drowning. And now I knew this was going to happen. Saige was going to swim, not sink, but swim, because I know how strong my queen is. I know how strong you are. And I want you to just give your experiences so the audience can, if you could just touch that one person, then if anything, we've done our bit. Well, you've done your bit as well, baby.
Okay. I may have touched on this in a previous episode, but I'll happily go into more detail. First off, I want to start off by saying I never use the term raising my vibration or how do I do it, because I feel like that puts pressure on me to strive to a certain standard, and I already have a perfectionist type personality, and the last thing I need to do is set some sort of standard for me to continuously try to reach, and it just becomes this whole thing. So that's actually something that's really huge in the breakthroughs that I'm having. A lot of the emotions and the shadows that were being revealed to me were because of this relationship, which I think we should do a separate topic on, the notion that you have to be completely perfect or healed in order to be in the relationship that you want to be in.
Do you know why I like that? That topic? Because we've been quite honest to ourselves in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We've been through it. We're no exception.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we're in, with divine unions, it's not all fairy tales. Because it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process as it is,
Mm-hmm.
So we will deep dive into that, into another episode. Because I just wanted to just focus on your experience first off.
Okay. I 100% agree with you though, and I think I'm really looking forward to doing that episode. But what I was saying was, I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, how you don't like to use the term raising your vibrations because it brings in the pressure of doing so, of raising that vibration as it is.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So, thank you. I'm glad you're listening.
I always listen.
Yes, you do. So, in this relationship, there were a lot of emotions and shadows that would not have come up if I weren't in this relationship. And so, through this process, it's like so many things came up at the same time. Me not feeling good enough, how I would typically handle my emotions and my issues by like self-isolating and trying to hide like that I'm going through these things, and just a couple of other things as well. But those two things alone was really tough for me because Paul is a very open person. He is very he's a very safe space. It makes him feel emotionally close to me whenever I share what I'm going through. But because I have this combination of not feeling good enough, plus like me going through this healing, messy, like just deep underworld process, was not a healthy thing for him to experience. It just made things very difficult, and I got overwhelmed and I started drowning because I was trying to put off this image that I'm strong and that I'm healed enough and that I know the spiritual work, and I wanted to show up in the best way as possible. But because I wasn't letting myself see like the messiness of what I was going through, just trying to hold it all together, I just kept sinking even deeper. And so it wasn't until that I had this come to God moment in the shower where I was literally I just started sobbing because I didn't know what to do. It felt like everything I was doing wasn't working, and I just said like, I need help. I just repeated that so many times in my head, and I released in the shower. And our spirit team often communicates with us in the form of ideas. We'll think that is just us like having a thought, but all the thoughts that we receive aren't really ours. It's being implanted in some way. We're constantly channeling, but that's another story. But yeah, I started receiving these ideas for books and the idea to get into breath work, and I started realizing that accepting my feelings from just objectively, just observing what I'm feeling and not judging it. It was the not judging it part that made all the difference. And I was just telling you this earlier, I had a moment at the table where I was just feeling distraught and I was feeling not good enough for the relationship, and I felt bad for not having it together because it seems like Paul does. And I stopped myself and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to judge what I'm feeling. I'm just going to focus on this feeling in my chest and just let it be. And whatever version within me that is feeling this deserves to be seen. And literally.
Okay, so I was gonna add on to that, but I want you to land. I want you to land.
Okay, I'm landing soon. Literally within 30 seconds of me doing that, this voice popped in my head that was like, the only reason you're feeling this way is because you're looking at it through the lens or the filter of not being enough. So it's not true. And then right after that, and me observing the feeling vanished. Just like it vanished so fast that I was almost like, where did it go? Like, is this okay? And mentally, my mind almost didn't want to let go of it. But I was like, no, if the feeling is gone, then that means I'm all right and I can move on. And it's just been, I have so much like not fight, but resolve within me now, because now I see that ironically facing yourself and accepting how you feel, not fighting it, not trying to be quick to fix everything, but to just let it be, is what's improving my process and also bringing us closer together as well.
100%. And the one thing I admire about Saige was that she wasn't faking it. It wasn't any way of changing her language. She was feeling what she needed to feel at that time. She was being her most authentic self. She had to go through that journey. And for what I saw as a proud husband was Saige went through this. The only way I could say it metaphorically is she went through a fire pit. She was a sword. And she went through the fire and she managed to get out of that fire pit even more stronger and sharper. There weren't no faking it, because that's not what Saige is about. She had to feel what she had to feel. And what I admire you was your blunt honesty to me. And that's through our communication. That's how we rebuild. That's how Saige rebuilt. That's how Saige alchemized. I understood during that time, because I said this to Saige, was, baby, this is your fight, but I'm always going to be in your corner. And I always knew she had the dog in her. Is that what you Americans say?
Yeah.
That fight in her, that spirit. And it was just a matter of time of me having to show that patience. And for anybody with regards to, if you're in the couples, best advice I would say is support and patience during your other half's turbulence, maybe a rough patch, because there is a light. You just have to be there during that time. You have to be constantly communication, constant support, constant love, care, and nature. There's no secret trick to it. Those are the fundamental things that you do. And then, lo and behold, Saige has a glow. For me, she's walked into 2024 as a new version of herself, removing the old skin, shedding of an old skin, and bringing it into the world as not just the new version, but a stronger version of her. And I think strength within, was something that I saw added into Saige's armory, and it was all started from within. What I will say, and I want to add on to the whole topic regarding Saige, and with people, I want to say to you guys is the importance of being real to yourself. I see a lot of, I think the term is toxic positivity, where one may feel a type of way, might not be in the process of dealing with things, but they're not being honest with themselves, and they're using elevated language. It's okay to use elevated language if you're in that space, but if you're not in that space, the purpose of things is not to be perfect, but authentic. And I just wanted to harp on that, because through your authenticity, you built yourself, you strengthen yourself, and if Saige can do it, anyone could do it.
Yeah, because there were a few times where I was like, I can't do this. Oh my God. But I think what kept me going was when we both made the decision that this is it. You know what I mean? It was, for me, it was this or nothing, because at the end of the day, even if I were to choose to go do something differently, the issue would still be there. You know what I mean? So what's really the point in not seeing it through now? Just for me to have to do it again later with someone not as amazing as you?
That is, she said it.
So, just, yeah. You just have to have enough belief in yourself. And I guess I'm speaking to anyone who's having a hard time, whether you're in a relationship or not. All you have to do is hold on to the possibility of change. Even if there are days where you don't believe that you'll change, holding on to that belief always leaves the door open. It's never closed. And even if it is closed, it's never locked. So I just wanted to touch on the toxic positivity because through my own journey, I realized how how easy it is to fall into that trap. There's nothing wrong with affirming the opposite of what you're feeling, because I know toxic positivity takes on that face. Where it becomes not useful is if you're not examining how you truly feel so that you can affirm for the root of the issue.
Absolutely, because you're creating a false identity of yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if I'm literally crying and bawling my eyes off, yeah, and Sage is like, baby, okay? I feel stupendous. Like, do you see what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. Whereas, you know, part of making these changes is being honest with yourself in the first place. And that's when you start to put your foot into the first steps of making those changes. Yes, I agree with Sage that the door may be closed, but it's never locked. However, in the point of a situation where you may feel upset or down, it's okay to say in the present moment, I feel down. That's who you are at this moment, but that's not who you possibly be tomorrow or 10 minutes after that. So I just wanted to add on to that because there is a toxic trait that's starting to develop when it comes to such as the toxic positivity movement. People using elevated languages when I don't feel it sits well with me in those times of use, if that makes any sense. So me and Sage has always said to people, it's about being your most authentic self. We've always harped on that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I got an amazing visual as you were talking. Is toxic positivity is literally like trying to build a house on land that's literally falling apart. And you're wondering why your house keeps falling apart because you're not addressing the foundation. You know
built
what I mean?
on sand.
Yeah, it's built on sand.
Because you're just covering the cracks that you haven't yet solved or deal with. You know, and I've had to deal with people which I've ascended from because they wanted me to change my language per se in terms of elevated language. And I'm like, no. If I feel like a piece of shit, I feel like a piece of shit in this moment in time. That don't mean I'll feel it like the next day. But if I feel like it now, I'm telling you I feel like it now. Don't tell me I need to say something different. Hell no. So I've had to make that change, you know, and for me, when I removed even those toxic parts of people promoting that type of toxic positivity into my life's got a lot more better. You know, I've lightened the load. And that starts with self first. Making discernment on not just your choices of people, but making choices on, do you want to follow the flock of toxic positivity or do you want to just be you? And it starts with you, always.
Well said. I don't even have anything to add to that. That was great.
That's amazing. And I just want to just say to the audience that how Sage has been so amazing recently. You know, we've only touched topic in front of a camera, but I see it behind the scenes, and I just want to just give you your flowers and show you that I love you, that you're amazing, that you're strong, and you're always brave. And everything that you've went through, for me, is a sign of not only the woman that I'm fallen in love with, but the woman that I've always envisioned to spend my eternal life with.
You know, I wouldn't be able to harness the power within me, my hurricane, if I didn't have such a strong container to help me hold it all together. You've been like the house, you have been the safest place that I could ever have done this work on myself. And it truly feels like we did this together, because it took both of us having patience and having like that love when I was feeling like I couldn't keep going. You had that, and you helped me stand up. And then in the times where you really needed that support, I was able to step up and be like, I got you, you know? And I'm just so grateful. I'm not gonna cry. I'm just so grateful and excited that I got to incarnate with you again to do this, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Just to let you know that without you, we wouldn't have created this virtue. And I just want to wrap this up, but before I wrap this up, I would like people of any divine unions to just keep in touch with us or message us, because our next topic will be around the topic of our relationship. I think that's very important. The parts of, obviously, divine union, the word's beautiful, and it's been sort of Hollywoodized. Was it something? That term's been sort of like a Hollywood word now. But I also want to talk about the parts where there are elements where it's hard, but
The
fire, but there are also elements that are beautiful. I want to, me and Saige, I think you can agree with me in this, but there are elements where we want to show the polarity in both sides of it.
Yeah, because, you know, there was in a reading that both of us got, like, we were told that when we were manifesting a relationship, we got more than what we asked for. So, like, when things started like heating up and like the challenges started coming and the shadow work and all of that, I was like, when did I ask for this? Because like I thought it was just gonna be like we sail off into the sunset, easy peasy, not a single turbulent tide, which we are still going into the sunset and beyond, because that's what we're willing. But it's just, I agree with you. I feel like there's not enough people talking about like, you ask for a divine union. What do you say? You ask for rain. Be prepared.
Yeah. If you're praying for rain, you gotta be ready for the mud that meets you. That's, for me, so real. So real.
Very real.
What's so funny?
Because it's just the way you went. It was real. Real as hell.
Real as hell. No, I'm playing. But yeah, no, I would love for anybody that's in a divine union, or anybody that feels that they're in a twin flame, soulmate energy, just to get a perspective on their side, and just part of it, you know, communication. That'd be great. But yes, I go by the name of the Sorcerer,
and I'm Sage of the Dragon,
and we hold space. Take care.